Beloved Creator of all that is, we recognize oneness. Oneness is expressed, and when it is expressed, it loses its expression. Defined, it loses its definition. In its emptiness, it is the cradle of all existence. In its fullness, it is creator of all things. Never empty, it surrenders into the mystery. Ever full, it creates into the unknown. Of one source, they differ in name, yet both arise from the one. Oneness beyond one. Herein lies the key to all mysteries. And so it is.
Hello, my name's Ron Perlman. I'm here with Cynthia Palmatier. We're doing an after-action report on the notice and demand to the de facto Oregon oligarchy, a cease and desist. We did this last week to the U.S. Department of Immigration's Customs Enforcement, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Marshals, the U.S. Marine Corps, and the FBI, and we made an after-action report on that. Today, not today, 2 days ago, we did the Office of Governor, the Office of Secretary of State, and the Office of the Attorney General. We did those in Salem. Catherine was with us. We had a full court. Cynthia was running the operation and handling the paperwork. We went to 900 Court Street and looked inside the new building that they're refurbishing for us. It's quite impressive.
Our capital.
Yeah, exactly. We entered from the State Street side and took care of our business there, but it was difficult. It was very difficult. There was a real lack of cooperation. To reach the office of the governor, you can't do it. You have to go to a telephone and dial on a telephone to talk to somebody supposedly in the office of governor. They could be in India. And they refuse to meet in the flesh. You cannot provide them with the document. So then we start, go ahead.
But before that, when we went in, we went to information and you asked for the office of the governor, and the woman had to get help from someone because she was just a volunteer. So she called, I guess, upstairs, and another woman came down to help us, which I found to be quite helpful in all kinds of little fun facts. Like there's a room there in the state capitol that is open for just media when the governor's there. It's her room, it's her office, but it's only for media purposes at this particular point. And she kept having to call around to try to find where we could actually talk to a live person. And that's when she ended up sending us over there. But while all these conversations were going on, she also informed me that the governor never stays in one place, that they don't know where the governor is at any given moment, that she moves around. The only time that they know that she's there is if she comes in to do, for TV purposes, for, speaking to the public in her, what was the name they used? Do you remember, Ron? There was I can't hear you.
Ceremonial office.
Yeah, the ceremonial office. That was it, the ceremonial office. And she also informed me that there was another way in that had just opened on a different side of the building, because now you can't just go into into the Capitol, you have to go through all the scanners, and they check you. They check your purses, they check whatever. So I
I
yield.
find that interesting because I remember those two women and I saw them as obstructions. I saw no help there at all. I saw a lot of chatter. I saw a lot of talk, but I saw nothing constructive for us to move our effort forward at all. We didn't
Well,
get moved forward till we found the office of the state police.
exactly, but that wasn't their fault. They said that we could go over to those two women. Well, not the two women. The one woman, she was a volunteer. She didn't know anything. The other one worked there. She found out where we should have been able to go. And she sent us over to the library, which is where, from what I've understood, since Tina Kotek took position, that was where her offices of her staff is. I'll just say that.
And
But
that
then
talk on the
exactly what you
telephone.
said.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly what you said. After that, it kind of turned bad.
yes. To me, the whole thing was an obstruction until we got to the state police, and they were very helpful. She signed as an agent for the governor, and we took care of the governor. There was a lot of difficulty with the Secretary of State, and we got that taken care of. These people want to do everything that they can to keep from assuming the responsibility of the office that they're supposed to be filling, and they can't fill it.
Every single person that I saw that was working, they were very bound with what they officially could and couldn't do. And both women in the Secretary of State's office and the one that helped us, that I talked to quite a number of times, they both said the same thing. There's just stuff that they're told that they cannot do. Like the woman in the Secretary of State's, not the Secretary of State, that was actually easy at the Secretary of State. It was the Attorney General that was difficult.
Oh, that was terrible.
The Secretary of State, they actually sent a guy out, which normally they stall us and they just throw a fit. I mean, every time that we've been in there, they have not been cooperative. That woman, I've dealt with that woman, and so have you, that helped us, and she acted as though we were her friends that time. And she said, "Yeah, I'll get somebody out here to help you." And she sent that guy right out. And remember, and they signed. He took it and he said, "Yeah, I'll get it to him." So
Moving
now,
to the Justice Department was a little bit more difficult.
and hers was because she couldn't, but I want to make, so I had a few extra copies of the instrument that we took, the cease and desist, and I left one of them with the front desk at the Capitol with that woman, and she started reading it right away. And I told the people, I told the guy after we served him at the Secretary of State, the same thing, read it. You guys read this before you take it back. It's not a secret. It'll be posted on our website. And he said, "I will." So, and I know the girl started reading it at the Attorney General's office, because we kept interrupting her. You kept interrupting her, Ron, because you wanted her to get it up to them. And she kept saying, "I can't. There's no one for me to even give it to." Like, they're still working from home, most of them. What did she say? That a skeletal crew, like in the offices, that most of them, they don't even work on site anymore. So, and they were a pain. That was a pain because they did not help at all. I mean, she wanted to, and she was quite interested in what we were doing. So was the two guys that you kept talking to, but somehow one of them got kind of agitated. I'm not sure why.
I am sure why.
I know, but I wasn't over there with you, so I don't know why.
The woman you were talking to could receive only for the appellate court. That's all she could receive for. If you gave her anything else, she would take it, but she would not guarantee it. But you didn't know that unless you asked her. She would just take it, stamp it, everything's good. But the only one that actually got through to where it was supposed to go was appellate. And so
Yeah.
to go to the Attorney General, she couldn't guarantee it. So we asked the two guys that are there. Thomas asked the guy, how long you've been working for the troopers? And the guy said 40 years.
Wow.
He had been working for some branch, department, or division of the Oregon State Police for 40 years. And the guy he was working with at the desk had been there a long time also. And they were most uncooperative. They did everything they could to be an obstacle. And they were.
Yeah. I know that they wouldn't help you because you asked them to take when you found out that the young lady couldn't take it because she didn't work for that department. I mean, she could take it, but she wouldn't guarantee it getting anywhere. You asked them to do it. And there was a couple of times, I just got to point this out because it was really funny. It actually made Catherine laugh because you kept going, well, I can just stand here and throw a fit until you get the state police in here. And I know that they'll take it from me. It was like, I'm like, oh my gosh. Catherine thought that was, she loved that. I don't, you didn't know that, but she did. She's just like, yeah. She goes, that's a good one. So
It's fun.
it was. It actually it was for me. I loved how I know that people were not as cooperative as what we would like them to be, but they were much more cooperative than they've been for most of all the stuff that we've done. And they actually wanted to read the document and the stuff that we were doing. And they were for whatever reason, they were so impressed with the badges this time. Everybody asked about the badges.
Took photocopies of them. Or
Yeah.
pictures, whatever.
Yeah.
So we finished Salem and went to a restaurant that we've been to many times called the Wild Pear. And we had a nice lunch. Then we drove to Portland. And we picked up Charlie and Catherine went.
Okay.
Then.
I'm going to stop you right now because one of my highlights was the young lady that is a paralegal that studied to be a paralegal that came over, and I think she had seen your badge. I'm not sure how all that went down, but she was very interested in what we were doing. She took your cards, and I think I gave her a copy. I think she was one of the people I gave a copy to actually read, and told her to get back to us. I said, read it and call. Call us. We'll answer anything that you want. Okay, I'm done.
Well, she does.
I hope she does too.
We met at 1000 Southwest 3rd DeMarco Hatfield Building in downtown Portland. And 4 of us went in, signed in as a court. We had an escort to the 7th floor, courthouse 740. And You take it from there because you and Charlie did all of that.
So we went up to the window to the clerk there, and she couldn't, she said that she would accept it, but it didn't have a cover page. And it had to have a cover page, and on that cover page, there had to be a case number, which we had, and it was actually a defendant versus, it was a legal document. We left out that part and we wrote in what it actually was, what it pertained to, and then we turned it in to her. And she accepted it. She received it that way. When she, when we explained to her that this wasn't a court case, this was a document to be actually served to hang on, let me see the name of the woman. It's a woman, the judge.
Karen Johanna Immergut.
Yeah, the district court judge. She accepted it in the form that it was, and she stamped which all of them, I want to say this, every one of them signed and stamped for us as well. None of them tried to get out that they didn't receive it. They all received the documents that we had.
Any of that on there?
You can see it. It's just hard. It's hard whenever you lift something up like that, but you can see it. But they were all really good, and none of them like give us an argument about it. They accepted it. And then there was you had a question after that. You
Yeah.
actually, okay, yeah, because that's really all that took place with them. We did what they wanted. We stepped aside and Charlie and I went over and the paperwork got filled out. We decided what needed to be filled in and what not. And then we went back and attempted to give it to her, but she accepted it the way it was once she understood what it was for. And she stamped it. And then she stamped our copy like you just showed. And then we were finished with her. And then you asked for the clerk?
No, the supervisor of the clerks.
Okay,
My
the
name-
supervisor.
SoS. Yeah, I've met him before, and he came out. I asked if they had an Amendment 7 court there, and he didn't know what that was. And then I asked if they had an Article 3 court there, and he said, no, we have Article 3 judges.
And I want to add something to that because this was really funny. He goes, "You've asked that before. You've sent it in emails, and I've told you I don't know." And then I asked him, I said, "You haven't ever looked it up? It's part of the Constitution." Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Because I actually was like, he actually acted dumbfounded about everything that you were asking him, Ron. I yelled.
They don't want to know. The whole thing is trickery. As an example, when you're standing on the floor and talking through the window to the girl on the other side, she's standing on the same floor you are. However, when Eric comes out to talk to us, he steps up onto a platform of 7 to 9 inches taller than everybody else on the floor. And that bank of 3 windows is 7 to 9 inches taller than you. So he can look down on you and intimidate you, which they do. Yeah, they're not nice people. They're looking to intimidate, and they cannot provide an Article 3 court. They don't have one. And
He kept confusing it with a courtroom.
Oh, that.
Remember that? He's like,
okay, well, wait a minute. The clerk there is called Melissa Aubin. And several times over the last few months, not several, probably 2 times over the last several months, I've asked them for a meeting so that we can schedule one of their courtrooms for our Article 3, 1 Supreme Court claiming original jurisdiction in Article 7, Amendment 7, and they cannot provide that court. But that's the court that, what is it? The Fifth Appellate and SCOTUS both agree in SEC versus Jarcasi 603 US 109 that you have to have an Amendment 7 court if you're going to try somebody and punish them. You can't do it in another court. You can't do it by eliminating the amendment. And Eric didn't even know about it. They don't care. They're not in Article 3. They're there as obstacles and obstructions to us. I don't see any real effort coming out of them for any kind of good.
I don't either, but
Yes.
there was 2 people that watched that guy and you, and Charlie piped in and I piped in a couple of things that, watched him. He looked really foolish. I'm sorry. I wasn't mad. I was actually having a really good time. I just was like, "Oh my gosh." Because sometimes compared to you, compared to William, compared to Charlie, compared to Bob, if I compare myself to people, I'm like, you guys are like way out here and here I am, but me and that guy, I'm way out here and that guy's like in here. I mean, that's how I'm like, oh crap, this guy who works, in the judicial system does not know this stuff, doesn't know his constitution, doesn't know, and it came to fact in front of 2 of his peers, people that he works with. That's not good.
Yes, it's not good.
And I was watching their faces. I was looking. I was looking to see what was on their faces. And that woman that we handed that document to began to read the document. So
We'll
I'm
see
just
now.
I'm just saying it's that's how come I look at what we did as a great to me one of the most exciting times, because people were responsive even when they weren't responsive. When they weren't responsive, they weren't responsive in a way that made them look very foolish to the other people that they were working with. I yield.
We left the Marco Hatfield building and went to the City Hall, which is about a block and a half away. And beautiful old building,
Mm-hmm.
old
It
timey
is.
elevators, the kind you can see the contraption moving through the glass. And it was well maintained, excellent building. I was impressed. We went up to the mayor's office. A guy immediately came to the door. Either you or Charlie said why we were there. And they immediately invited us in. A guy came from around the desk, asked what we needed. He was told, he signed it and stamped it, and we were out of there in 5 minutes. It was efficiently, properly done. One of the few times when dealing with any of these folks that they actually get it right. I yield.
I think that we can actually, as simple as it was and as much stuff that's going on, I honestly believe that we could possibly get a meeting with the mayor. I really do. I not just because they were so approachable and it's so open and the city's in such distress right now. I want to say something though, because Charlie and I had this conversation on walking back to the cars. Her and I did when I drove you over to drop you off and I had to go back and repark and walk back over. When I crossed over, when I got to Fourth, which is the building that City Hall's on is on Fourth. I was kind of like, I'm not sure which way I'm supposed to go, right or left. I think it's left, but I wasn't sure. And there was a guy that was kind of down the street a little bit on the sidewalk that looked like he was dressed in black, had a black like body armor on and some kind of an insignia. I couldn't really see what it was, but I'm like, I'm going to go ask that guy. Then all of a sudden I see more of them. I see there's 5 all together up and down that sidewalk, like way down, and they're all coming up. And I get up to the guy and I said, excuse me, can you help me? I said, I need to, do you know where City Hall is? I'm not sure if I need to go, that way or that way. And he turned around, and when he turned around, I was like, oh crap. And he I didn't know he looked like he kind of like wanted to like bark at me, but he decided not to. And he goes, yes, it's that way. And by then all those guys started coming up and they started fist bumping and they all were dressed the same way. And then they went into that, I think it was blue or green building. It's big. Charlie said that that's where they house a lot of the offices and stuff for City Hall, all of it. But you can't get into those offices without a key card. And all 5 of those guys went in. They came from like different directions and they just all filtered right into that building. It was bizarre to me. And they all look like military, ex-military. All of them really buff, all dressed in black.
Most of them are ex-military.
Well, I mean, they just had that look that, but man, that was like, whoa, who are they? Who do they work for? And there's a lot of them. That was way too many to be, security for inside of a building that was secure already. Key cards only, no handles, no key. Yeah, I looked at all the doors. I did, Ron, because that was so suspicious to me. And then when I got down there, when I dropped you off, I noticed that there was somebody outside in the front, that there was a news channel there, that was interviewing someone when we went in, when I got there, and they were still there when we came out. And when we were coming out and I saw them before we walked out, I asked Charlie, I said, did you guys listen in on what they were doing? Because they're just now finishing up the interview. And she goes, no. And I said, well, I want to find out. I want to know who they are. That's the news people. So go ahead. You go from there. Because I was excited about that too.
I don't remember, I don't remember her name. She was with the cameraman. I don't remember what the interview was about, but it was about
I do.
It had been recently done. What?
It was about the park districts, the park and recreation. They have not been taking care, which I can vouch for that because I've been to a number of the parks around me this last year. They have not been maintaining the parks at all, but yet they're building new ones. And she was investigating that. That's what that was about. And she was interviewing that man. And that's when Charlie and Thomas both piped up about a different set of ledgers that she needed to look into. It's got 4 initials. What is it?
COFR, It's the ledgers for the accountability of the funds for the cities and the counties.
Yeah, it's something, yeah, something like that. And the woman didn't know anything about it. And she liked our badges too. So she wanted to know about it, and she asked what we were there for. And that's when did Charlie had an extra copy that she handed out too. We handed out 3 extra copies to people. 2 that I had, and she gave our original that for us, she gave it away too. But now I know I gave the woman that because I had one more in my hand, and I asked her, I said, well, here it is. This is what we delivered to the mayor, and I went through all the different people that we delivered it to that day. And I said, if you have any questions, get a hold of you. Specifically, I pointed to you. I said, he would be your best one. I said, but any of us could answer questions. And we gave her cards. And she took all of the cards. I asked her, I said, do you want all of our cards? She goes, yeah. So we all gave her cards.
Hopefully something comes from that.
I'm praying. I've been praying for that and these other sources that, because I reached out to 2 other sources twice now. And I know something's going to happen soon. So I thought it was a very successful day.
I thought it was a very successful operation from start to finish. Took
Yeah.
some days to finish it, but we got it done.
Mm-hmm.
I think we did the job.
We did the job. And we did it well. I want to say that too. I was really excited about it. You can ask William. I told him all about it, him and Tanya,
It was
yesterday. Yeah. And I appreciate it. Thank you for your memory and all your help, because you remember all those fine details. I can remember all the other stuff, but all those little details that are really super necessary, they're in your brain. So, is this a wrap?
It's a wrap.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. Then he jumps out of the car. And he's got both his hands up. And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.